Hello to all of my subscribers and people watching the video. Thought I'd shout this because you guys are probably wondering, my last video was just a little teaser there, and I wrote down what's next. Well, what's next? I mean, weather's getting bad, temperatures dropping. Today was a beautiful day to shoot a video of me driving this thing around, but unfortunately, when I said what's next, I meant it. First thing that happened, nothing to do with anything I did, that's for sure. But unfortunately, my steering box ended up it decided to start leaking out like some serious amounts of power steering fluid to the point where I just could not drive it. It was just pouring oil all over the place. So unfortunately, I can't drive the car, and the weather's getting really crappy. Winter's coming. It's almost the end of November now. I think it's the 28th or 29th today. I'm not even sure. Shows how much I really care, but it's a Sunday night, and I thought I'd just let you guys know that everything's all good at home over here. Motor's running excellent. The car is just a blast to drive, but unfortunately it's leaking oil all over the place out of the power steering gearbox, so I'm gonna have to get that thing replaced. I'll probably be pulling it out tomorrow. I already got one on order. I was gonna rebuild it. I've seen a few videos on YouTube with these guys rebuilding their power steering boxes, and you know what? Yeah, it's not that hard to do. They got ball bearings in them and stuff. You got to know what you're doing. But I decided they sell you a kit, and the kit's pretty well universal for all these boxes. And these boxes are not got the clearances in them. It's not exactly the same. So you're better off getting one rebuilt from a guy that does that for a living, that's got all the equipment. Because the actual housing for the power steering pump's got a bore in it, and the bore, it might be scraped. Who knows what? They got seals, and they don't have piston rings. There is actually a cylinder in there that looks like a piston, and it's got a Teflon seal in it and an O-ring. And I know for sure that if I take this thing apart and try to rebuild it and put new seals in it, when I get to that big cylinder in the back cover where they got the little C clip, it's a really big aluminum C clip that holds the back cover on, and then there's a bolt inside it, for you guys that know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that bore over there's the pump anyways. It looks like brand new. Unfortunately, it's just pouring out of the input shaft. I got a little bucket underneath the car to keep it from leaking all over the garage floor. But that cylinder over there, they sell you a kit, and the Teflon seal is one size, and your cylinder might be a little narrower. It may need to be honed out for the bigger size. So you know what? By the time you get it done, and the money you spend for the seal and taking it apart, and your time and stuff, and going through power steering fluid and on and on and on, you're better off just getting a rebuilt unit or getting yours rebuilt. I was kind of iffy about ordering one because just being a pace car Trans Am, I know the steering ratio is different. It's more sport oriented, and it feels more like a rack and pinion. It's a little stiffer, and a lot of these guys that do rebuild them will give you a universal one, and the steering ratio will be wrong. I'll be like 3 turns left, 3 turns right to make the steering wheel turn all the way. I don't want that because it's performance cars, sports cars, the things spin a lot. They got a closer ratio where it turns. You don't have to turn the wheel as much to make a maneuver on the steering wheel. So that's where I stand now. I got to deal with the power steering box. Other than that, everything else is like perfect. Oh, another thing I decided to do is because, originally this motor was out of an Escalade that I turned into a LS3, which I turned into a 416 stroker. So really it's irrelevant now because it's a 416 stroker. It's an LS3 block and LS3 heads, but it's got a 4-inch crank, and it's got forged aluminum stroker pistons I bought from Summit Racing. The crank's is Summit Racing, and so is the rods. They're 6.125-inch rods. 4-inch stroke crank, forged steel, of course, non-twist alloy. So it's not an LS3 anymore. It's a beast, and it's got so much power, it's unbelievable. And I'm glad I used a stock intake manifold. If you guys watch Richard Holdender, West Tech Performance, he does thousands of tests on LS motors. And one thing I've learned from that guy is the stock LS3 intake manifold is probably one of the best ones you could get. I mean, there's 1 or 2 intake manifolds that may perform a little better. I'm talking about bottom end power, not top end. The usable power that you'd be using driving every day as a daily driver and putting your foot into it once in a while. you're going to lose easily 40 to 50 horsepower and 40 to 50 foot-pounds of torque putting in all those short ram intakes or those throttle body style intake manifolds and on and on and on. The only ones that really make more power than stock LS3 intake is the fast intake, which looks just like the LS3 intake. And realistically speaking, come on, it's $1,200 American for an intake manifold that's going to give you 20 more horsepower from the bottom of the power band to the top. And the second intake manifold, which looks really cool, is the Edelbrock cross ram. Of course, the problem with that is you got two throttle bodies, and well, if you look at my intake, look where my alternator is. That cross ram intake is going to have two throttle bodies. One's going to be blocked by half the alternator, and the other half is going to be blocked by the coolant hole. So you're going to get yourself into a big headache to make an extra 20 horsepower and shell out another $1,200, like I said, to make 20 horsepower. It's just not worth it. The stock intake makes way more power than all the intakes from idle all the way to around 6,000 RPMs. Okay, from 6,000 to 7,000 RPMs, the aftermarket short ram intakes, Holley makes them. I think Edelbrock makes them. There's a bunch of Chinese ones out there. And realistically speaking, you lose your whole bottom end to gain 40 horsepower at the top end. And realistically speaking, who's at 7,000 RPMs? That's very rare. I mean, if you drive your car on the track and you're racing every day, I understand, because you're not using the bottom. You're using the top, and you got a high stall or you got a stick and you're just letting it go at like 4,000 RPMs, fine. But for an everyday street car, it's not going to work. Even the camshaft I got in here, I got a Brian Tooley Racing Stage 2 LS3 cam, and some people say that's too small for a 416, but you know what? That camshaft makes approximately 470 horsepower at the back tires on a 6.2 liter, or the LS3 stock motor with some add-ons like maybe headers and a bigger throttle body. But it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. And I even forgot the point I was going to make. Anyways, another thing I wanted to do, because I was talking about this being an Escalade motor at the beginning, and it had over 200,000 miles on it when I originally got it. I ordered a set of coil packs for it from Jegs Racing, and they're supposed to be 40,000 volts, where the stock ones are around 25,000 volts. And it seems like they got lost in the mail. I'm not sure. They're supposed to be here 4 days ago, sorry, and I haven't really got any information on what's going on with that. Last I heard, it's in my town, but it's been sitting at the warehouse for like over a week, so I don't know what's going on. It's kind of upsetting, dishing out all that money and buying it from a reputable place, and the shipping company that shipped it out really kind of messed up. I don't even want to mention their names. I should mention their name, but I'm not going to mention their name. And it's 3 letters, their name. And it's not United Parcel Service, just so you don't get confused. Anyway, so that's that. So I'm kind of stuck with this thing sitting in the garage, and I'm really, really hoping that I will be able to do a nice video smoking the tires a little bit, putting my foot into it a little bit more. And I'm going to probably take it to Downsview Air Force Base and probably get onto one of the runways there so I could really open her up. But until that happens, it's all timing, because the weather tomorrow is going to be terrible. It's going to be 3 degrees. Besides, I got to take the power steering box off anyways and get it replaced. That won't be done till Tuesday. And then Tuesday, they're calling for 10 to 15 centimeters of snow, which is kind of ugly. I'm not a winter guy, personally. So that's that. So, hopefully next week or the week after, the weather's going to get nice enough so I could actually shoot something and have some fun doing it, so you guys could enjoy it too. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like my videos, please subscribe, let out the word, ring the bell if there is one. I don't even know. I don't have any commercials on my videos, but I'm really, really appreciative of all you guys that have subscribed. I'm at 302 subscribers, which is great. I can't wait till I get to 416 subscribers, which would be 416 cubic inches. That would be neat. Anyways, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourselves and have a good night.